Hi, Brandon Driver here with Electric Auto Squad. Is Elon really moving Tesla headquarters? I did a lot of research into Elon's threats on Twitter and into the lawsuit, which did actually happen against California, and I have some thoughts for you. I have the opposition to his tweets, and I have the people in favor of his tweets, and then I have what most likely really will happen from this whole situation. Throughout this video, I'm going to work to earn your like and subscribe, so please check in with me at the end to see if I did so. First, the people that think that this is an overreaction. One of the biggest criticisms against Elon here is about a year ago, he tried to close all the sales stores and take everything online. This was a very, very big decision that was made very, very quickly over Twitter. And a lot of people criticized him for it and said, this is a bad idea. People need an in-person experience. I was one of the salespeople for the company at the time, and this was a very tumultuous time. And eventually he decided that it was a bad idea, but the factor that likely made his decision was ending a lot of the leases early on those sales buildings was going to be ridiculously expensive, and getting sued by those landlords was also not going to be fun. And there were going to be a lot of them to take on at the time. So ultimately Elon decided, never mind, we'll keep most of the stores open. They did close a few that were superfluous in some areas where there were too many stores in populated areas, but Elon made a decision on Twitter very quickly and then changed his mind later. And that's the criticism here. He's kind of doing the same thing. Another thing I found was Elon's kind of been on a Twitter storm recently. He tweeted out that he's selling all his possessions. He tweeted out a very unusual name for his baby, possibly the most unique name in the whole world. And he kind of has just been spending a lot of time on his phone and tweeting out some strange stuff. And maybe this is just accumulation of him having too much time on his phone. Maybe he just kind of got frustrated and decided, this is how I want to react, and I'm telling the world about it. Another big criticism of Elon here is he's only concerned about the company's well-being, not about his employees' well-being. He's in the middle of a huge multi-stage compensation plan, and if he performs well enough as CEO, then he's going to be getting paid a lot of money that will skyrocket him to having more wealth than Jeff Bezos. And maybe Elon's worried too much about that. It's also arguable that he has a lot of stuff coming up this year and he just wants to get back into it, but people are saying that he's caring more about money and more about his company's well-being than he is about the people and their safety. Okay, now for the people in favor of Elon's tweets. People are saying that this is how you defend your company. The lawsuit against the county of Alameda in California, where the Fremont factory is located, states that the governor of California's mandates about essential businesses and the guidelines for which businesses qualify include Tesla. But Alameda County has had their own set of guidelines, and they have said that Tesla is not allowed to operate. So Tesla is accusing Alameda County of overstepping the governor's mandates and making their own rules and restricting Tesla unfairly. In fact, further in defense of Elon, the company has a 38-page document about how they plan to reopen. That's a lot of work and research being done into how they can do it safely, how they can protect the employees, how they can make it so that they can operate at half capacity or full capacity, but do so with mind that we're in the middle of a pandemic. And that is a responsible way to reopen. And a lot of other businesses in Alameda County have not had those same precautions and certainly don't have a 38-page document listing how they're going to do it. And Alameda has still allowed those businesses to reopen. So Elon's kind of ticked. Another fair criticism, I think, is Elon probably has been working with Alameda for the last month on this. And that 38-page document probably was already presented to them. And Elon's whole decision to try and open a few days ago was based off vague confirmation that they can do so. And when Alameda shut him down after he'd probably been trying to work with them in quiet, I would be frustrated. I would want to go and blast it on Twitter. I can understand that. Okay, so I talked about the two sides. Now I want to talk about what most likely is going to happen here. And real fast, I want to check in, see if I've earned your like or subscribe yet. Please, if you do so, turn on notifications. One of YouTube's metrics is they measure how many people actually have notifications on, and then that boosts dramatically the value of the YouTuber's channel. So thank you very much ahead of time. So here's the lawsuit tweet. Elon says very clearly that he is frustrated with how this has been handled, and it has been unfair, unconstitutional, and Tesla has been mishandled. And he's frustrated enough that he wants to move. The reality is Tesla is paying some really high taxes in California, and they've been dealing with some poor legislature for businesses that makes it really difficult to operate in the state. You'll notice no other car maker exists in California anymore. and maybe it's time for Tesla to do the same. Earlier today, a California assemblywoman said this tweet against Elon, and I don't think that any official would have sent a profane tweet against him publicly and been aggressive against him unless they really felt like there wasn't much chance of changing his mind. And I think that in and of itself makes them sound defeated. So there's probably more behind the scenes that we aren't aware of, but Elon's got some good reason to want to move. Now, here's what I actually think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be immediate. Elon and Tesla have way too much going on. They just started delivering the Model Y. They're working on ramping that up. They're working on Battery Day, which is right around the corner. They have the Plaid drivetrain coming up later this year. They're working on the Cybertruck and the Semi and then the Roadster, and they're working on building 2 more Gigafactories. They've got a lot of stuff going on right now, and I don't think a whole move of HQ is probably in their best interest. What I do think is I could see over the next 2 to 5 years them slowly transitioning a lot of their operations and probably building another Gigafactory somewhere in the US and then just making that their base of operations instead. I don't think they'll ever fully pull out of California, but it would make sense if they started shifting to another location. I think it'll happen over time if he really does move out. And that is a lot less extreme, but still a middle ground for the two sides opposing and in favor of his aggressive tweets. Please check out my video up here in the corner about the next 2 events coming this year and why I think you should wait to buy a Tesla until those 2 events happen. Tesla is about to release some awesome technology that you should be aware of. And thank you very much for the feedback. I've been getting a lot of comments and people messaging me, giving me feedback about the videos and giving me ideas for my next ones. And I have a few in the pipeline I'm really excited to show you, but please keep sending them my way. I'm stoked to be making videos on stuff that you guys are asking me about. So thank you very much. Stay safe.